How is it going, you lovely lot? Welcome back to Tokyo Rising. Today is episode number 23. It's the second part of our winter transfer special, and today we need to be ready for J3. The season starts in 5 weeks. There's some transfers I need to get done. Let's run the intro and get straight into things. Now, of course, if you didn't see yesterday's video, go watch it. As always, we have a fairly bare-bones starting 11 side to start pre-season. I really need to look to flesh it out. Of course, we did make strides towards doing that as of last episode. But sadly for us, that depth was in the centre-mid area, which wasn't necessarily a priority, but I'm pretty happy with the acquisitions here. Yoniyama, 17 years old, a good little playmaking player. And of course, where we left things last episode, Watanabe, I'm also able to confirm the transfer of. This guy looks very, very good. 19 years old, good, more defensive-minded midfielder. Love the aggression and bravery. Now, Ryota won't be here till the 1st of February, which is in a week's time. Of course, that is the date where contracts in Japan expire. In terms of our starting 11, no such players. In the B team, we are going to see this squad shrink down fairly significantly in the off-season. That is probably for the better. Of course, one man who I'm desperate to replace, who is definitely leaving at this point, I fear, is Yuichi Ota. Yeah, he is running down his contract. He's still not signed a deal with a new club yet, so I'm still holding on to the tiniest bit of hope. Maybe I can convince him to stay, but with him leaving, he obviously leaves a gap in the team in the striking area, which Asutsu to an extent filled this year, but I do feel like there is scope for improvement. And of course, the big area really of concern this year is the wing-back area. Look, we do have fullbacks. We have Numata, who I could definitely bring in, and he could do a job if need be, age 19. And similarly, out on the right-hand side, we've got long-term servant to the club, Mitsuhashi. Again, a good younger player at 22, who I think, you know, in an emergency could play there, or I could start him for the coming season, although it wouldn't exactly be ideal. Behind them, the obvious player to kind of be the versatile man is Kobayashi. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, but the issue of all three of these fullbacks is they are the extent of the depth I've got in that position, and I feel like we can do better in all those spots. Of course, the other area of the team where I may need to add a little bit of strength is centre-back. Kim was a really reliable backup centre-back for us last year. The 24-year-old actually put in some really good ratings, considering he only started 4 of 14 games he played last year. But with his departure for £35,000, we need a new man to step up there. When you look at the team sorted by position, I'm pretty happy with the midfield setup, especially when the new centre-mids join us. It's just everywhere else that's a concern. Anyway, I have got a load of new scouts that we signed during the pre-season looking at players right now, but I actually think, as much as I want to go out and do a load of transfers now, what's actually kind of critical is to get to the day where all the contracts expire. One thing we've definitely experienced and benefited from at Tokyo 23 is teams releasing players in Japan, especially university and high school teams. There seems to be a new batch of players that become available in February. Right now, I'm not really convinced there's scope for improvement with the players that are at least already on my radar. So I think with a week, you know, scout recruitment focuses will hopefully pick up some players. Players will become free agents. In the intermission, of course, if we get any offers, I'll be back for those. But I think I've got to leave things fairly late here. Just as a reminder, first game of the season is on the 27th of February. So by the time players are released, 4 weeks left of pre-season. Less than ideal. First pre-season match of the episode. Takagi out for 4 to 5 weeks. He will probably now miss the start of the season. That really presses home the need to get in a new striker, doesn't it? Watch just looking here at players that have been scouted by our staff members. There is a man here who's popped up, Batata. He's quite good. Brazilian, 21 years old, plays for Botafogo, has actually played 1 game in the Brazilian top flight. He's available for £1,500. Is he good or am I going crazy? I mean, compared to Otter, he looks like an upgrade. I'm confused. How do I have this guy scouted? Was he offered to me at some point? My scouting range is only set to Japan, so he must have been offered to me. Yeah, he looks good. I kind of want to send a scout to look at him more, but I feel like it might cost us a little bit of money, but maybe I should do it. £3,000 to scout him? We can afford that. I mean, it has now got me curious. Botafogo reserves, have you got any more players transfer listed you just want to give me? Like, I'm in the market if there's them available. Vitinho, he's on £1,200 a week. I'm going to assume he doesn't want to join me. Yeah, he doesn't want to join me. Zapata here, who also plays for Botafogo, looks quite good. He's listed as an emergency backup for them. Not sure I could actually afford him, but he's loan listed. I could loan him for £600 a week if he has any interest in joining us, which I don't think he does. There are a few more Brazilians listed here. I think these are actually Brazilians I've already looked at previously. Whenever someone who's not Japanese pops up, I get excited. Okay, Batata only wants between £500 and £700. That feels kind of reasonable. He also wants to be an advanced forward, which is exactly what I'm looking for. He does want a minimum release clause to teams in higher division and a sell-on fee. I don't really want to give him those things. Would also like to lock him in on a longer-term deal if I can. Being realistic for a moment, we can actually afford to offer a bit more in terms of signing on fee and stuff, just because, well, we sold a lot of players last episode. That said, I feel like this could be some hard negotiating. Batata, come on, be kind to me, mate. Look, I'll give you £15,000. Do 650 and we'll shake on it. This guy for £650 on a 4-year deal, basically. I feel like that could be quite good. When you compare him with Takagi, it's clear he's not quite as good, but Takagi is just a bit of a freak of nature. And also, Batata can play right back. Kind of. If he's playing right back, things have gone wrong. But yeah, I do like the look of this guy a lot. Has some really good determination, some nice physicals, maybe a little bit of potential. But to be honest, I'm not really looking at his age. I'm looking at his ability. And I think he has the ability to step in and really do a job for us. Do need to remind myself as well, we are limited to 4 foreign players in J3. Of course, we did have Kim previously using one of those foreign player slots. He's no longer here. More offers for Kamori. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Otter's contract set to expire in a week. He has no interest in a new contract. We already knew that. A couple of staff members' contracts are expiring. Oh no, here is expiring. I want to renew his contract because his name is Oh No, but I feel like we can do better there. Elsewhere, Kanishi here is actually a decent little scout. I feel like I should renew. Okay, well, I was thinking we should renew his contract. He doesn't want to renew it, so never mind. Our goalkeeping coaching is currently one of the big struggles in the team. It's one of the things we're not so good at, so I feel like getting in a new goalkeeping coach could be the order of the day. Who have we got here? We've got Shishido. I want you, Shishido. 32 years old, bit of potential, maybe. Younger coach. Yeah, you know what? He's good. He does also want £1,100. That's not going to work. Okay, I have found a coach that I want to sign. Aizawa looks like he could do the business. A little bit low in determination, but pretty well-rounded elsewhere. Did actually only want to come in to be a youth goalkeeping coach, but good enough to be our first-team coach, at least for the 1-year contract he signed. These offers for Kamori are slowly getting bigger, but I'm still not interested. £71,000 offered for him. No thank you. I'm thinking about how much I'd need to get bid on for me to accept a bid for Kamori, but the reality is I feel like he's fairly untouchable. According to our staff here, you can see he'd be a good player for most JFL sides, but he's got a little bit of potential. 19 years old, eyeing him up as a player who will one day be homegrown at club. And he doesn't want to leave, and I don't want to lose him. Okay, Batata wants to sign for us. I don't know what intermediary or scout or whoever offered him to us, but whoever did, they may well have blessed us here. Was very unhappy at Botafogo. Gets a fresh start here in Japan. You can see here, Botafogo must pay a share of the transfer fee to Vasco Lopez, the intermediary who handled the move. Shout out to Vasco Lopez. Big fan. I'm going to accept here. Allegedly has J3 potential, a very good player within the context of our current first team. Also has a nice long-term contract, which I know people hate it when I do this. I'm going to trigger immediately. He's now here for 4 years. Have to admit, it is annoying me a little bit that Batata doesn't have a face. I feel like I'm going to have to go out and find his face on the internet and add it into the game. New player alert on the scouting recommendations. Attacky here, centre-back who can play left back. Currently on £1,000 playing for a high school team, but is about to become a free agent. Also wants to treat the club as a stepping stone. I feel like I've got all excited here and he's going to have outrageous wage demands. Of course, just as a little reminder, our current highest earner is on just under £700. I'll offer him £700, but I already know what's going to happen here. I'm going to suggest this and he's going to ask for £1,400. That's exactly what he's done. This just isn't an offer I can stomach, is it? It's a sad day here at Tokyo 23. Some of the last remnants of the initial squad have departed. Matsumoto released by the club at the end of his contract. Tamiya has also left the building. Of course, a useful player a couple of years ago, but didn't get near the first team for the season just gone. Fukumoto as well. Once upon a time, one of the bright stars of this team, but let's be honest, just not good enough for the level we find ourselves at now. It does mean that the B team suddenly is looking a whole lot more empty. All of these players here I'd ideally like to sell. Aoki being on £400 a week really isn't the best bit of business I've ever done. Have got a few new players that are now being offered to me. Now it's the 1st of February. Oi, Wayne! That's definitely not how you say his name, but that's how I want to say it. It's like I'm shouting to Wayne Rooney on a night out. 21 years old. He looks very, very good. Was playing at university level. What kind of contract might he want? Wants to be a star player. I know I've just signed a new striker, so I probably don't need another, but this guy's bloody good. Have managed to get him to accept an offer here on £600 a week. I've just signed a new striker, but Wayne just looks good, and the name Yuya Owain, it's a fun name to say. If I compare him with Batata, who is better? The answer is Owain, but Batata could just be a very good backup, and he can also play right attacking mid. I mean, is there a world this year where I switch to like a 4-3-3? I mean, is it time to move into the future? Takagi, I think, is going to obviously lock down his spot, but even compared to Owain, I mean, is Owain better? What I think I need to do is I just need to sign him anyway. We do have an abundance of strikers already, it has to be said. But I have got a few players here, like Otsuka, who, well, after his broken ankle, I probably could just look to sell on if needed. Crucially, by the way, with it being now the 1st of February, a couple of transfers have now joined us. Yoniyama, good little depth centre mid option. Watanabe, we've talked about, as well as another good depth centre mid player. Sakurai has also joined us. This guy at 20 years old, just a younger attacking option that I decided to bring in for some depth. He can play on the left and right as well. I'm beginning to wonder, like, should I go to, like, a more attacking, wide attacking mid-system, something like this? Is that going to ruin my style of play, even if I was to, say, switch the wingers to play on support? Is that a stupid idea? I'm just looking at kind of the attacking mid options we've got in the wide area, combined with players who can play as a striker. There's a lot of players here that can kind of facilitate this kind of system. Might be the way to go. Wasn't what I planned to do, but I just feel like I need to sign Wayne. By the way, I have had another offer for Kamori. Apparently he's now stated his desire to leave. He wants to leave now. Hello, when did this happen? For ages, he's been saying he's happy. Now he decides he wants out. It's not happening. You're contracted for another 4 years, son. Although, if you were going to get rid of Kamori, you could definitely do a lot worse than Batata at right attacking mid if I did want to change the shape a little bit to have kind of the wide attacking mid players. Maybe that's an option. I feel like if I was going to do that, Yamada maybe has to drop back and play as a deep line playmaker instead, just to give a bit more solidity. Is this going to compromise the counter-attacking style of play? I don't know if it does. Realise I'm doing all this thinking about a player that I'm not even necessarily guaranteed to sign. Like, if Wayne joins, we'll cross that bridge, we'll think about it. This guy just looks like a really, really good striking option. There was another player here who I hadn't spotted before. He was another striker who popped up. He doesn't excite me as much. Has the same ability, allegedly, if you trust the stars, which you should never trust the stars. But if we just compare him with Wayne... yeah, I know who I'd rather have. I already know this one's left a comment saying, Jack, it's not Oiwane, it's Owane. Look, it probably is, but Oiwane's just funner to say. So you're not going to win me over here, I'm afraid. I feel like this is why I shouldn't have got excited. Tokyo 23 face late pressure to sign him, and then half of Japan is listed as teams that want him. So many teams are making offers for Oiwane. I'm pretty certain I'm not going to get him. I mean, I say that. There's only one J2 team that's made an offer, but I'm just really trying to convince myself I won't get him. Then the disappointment won't hurt as much. Need to remind myself, I also need a centre-back. I've had a little look at players. There's no good ones out there. These bids for Kamori are getting a bit big now. £100,000 for Kamori. £100,000. 100,000. It's a lot of money, isn't it? I'm just going to ask for 250,000. I knew they were going to say no. I hope Kamori's now not going to cry. I'm just bored of just rejecting the offer, so I thought I'd push my luck. Probably was pushing it a bit too far to the extreme. João Victor from Corinthians has been offered to me by an intermediary. Am I about to sign another Brazilian? The answer is no. I saw the star rating and got very excited. I saw the fact he had a face pack picture and got excited. He's not that good. I mean, while we're here, should we just have a look at Corinthians' reserves? You know, they might have someone good here. I feel like the odds on me being able to sign any of these players is rather slim, but there is a player who's unhappy here called Fernando Vera, who is a centre-back from Paraguay. I mean, he's not actually a bad centre-back either. If I can get him for cheap, I'll see if he wants to talk to me, I guess. He probably could cost me like £6,000. I feel like we can afford that. We can afford it. He's not interested in talking to me though, so never mind. My staff are looking for fullbacks, by the way. There's a player here who I saw, free agent, decent, well, stars, 2.5 stars is not really decent, just not very good. I'm beginning to realise that maybe I'm just going to be stuck with Mitsuhashi at right back and Numata at left back to start the year. I mean, it's not disastrous if I have to start with them, but I would just be lacking depth there as a result of moving on some other players. If you were wondering, by the way, yeah, the season starts in under 3 weeks, and there's still gaps. I mean, I've not even got close to filling them, really. I'm really putting all my eggs in the Oi Wayne basket. The longer I wait, the more I'm convinced he's not going to sign for me. Really, I'm just hoping at some point on the scouting recommendation screen here, which was the holy grail of players last year, the players I need are going to appear. I need that right back really, really badly. Mizuguchi here is a left back option that I have got scouted. Very, very good going forward. I'm really not sure, though, about the defensive ability. Compared with Numata, though, probably is an upgrade. I mean, very similar defensively, has a slight edge when it comes to stuff like acceleration, pace less so. The technicals do... Well, they do attract me to Mizuguchi here. He was playing for Kashima Antlers, who are kind of my J1 team in real life. So for that reason, I kind of want to sign him. He's only made 1 appearance for them, this guy. How much might he want to join us? Never mind. We don't have the financial muscle to meet his demands. Not ideal. So I'm being asked about captaincy for next year. I feel like for all time's sake, Sauer has to remain as captain. Probably going to be his final year at the club with his contract expiring at the end of the year. Yoshikawa, though, is a decent player with some good teamwork and, well, 15 leadership. At 22 years old, got a long-term deal. I feel like he makes a lot of sense to make that long-term option. And also, because he plays the same position as Sauer, there's a pretty good chance that one of them is going to be on the pitch at all times. Rio is an interesting player because I like Rio, the 23-year-old. On paper, should be an absolutely superb player. Last year was at times a massive, massive liability. 6.83 rating for a centre-back isn't amazing. But the issue I've got is I'm already a little bit short on centre-backs. I've had a bid here, you can see, from Zelvia, who, well, right now are in J2, were relegated last year from J1. They want him. They're willing to offer a decent amount of money. I wonder if they'd be interested in buying him, but with a loan back for a year. I feel like they're definitely not going to be interested in this, but if I could get, say, £120,000 for him, I think I have to take it. I have to take that offer, don't I? £120,000 for Rio, and I get him on loan for a year. Oh, I hate the fact that I'm going to take that offer. Like I said, he's been a bit of a liability. Suppose what this does do is open up the opportunity for me to bring in a new centre-back option as a starter over Rio. Then Rio becomes the depth centre-back we've been looking for. I don't know how to feel about that. I feel like that's a good deal, but I didn't expect them to actually accept it. We've hit that point in pre-season that I think we all knew was inevitable. I've brought in a load of trialists. What I will say is there's definitely a lot more centre-backs than there are wing-backs in terms of players sorted by world reputation. There's some okay players around here that if I got really desperate, I suppose I could look to sign. I am thoroughly underwhelmed, though. I think of all the options that I've got in on trial, this guy might be the best. Kai Ashiro really would just be coming in to be that emergency backup centre-back. Has played at a J3 level and played a decent number of games on 2 seasons at this level. Was relegated last year from the JFL with Guinea, which is a bit concerning. But if the wage demands are reasonable, which they're really not, I was going to say we found our player. I'm in a pickle here. Because I have the wage budget to bring in players, right? But I know if I spend more money to bring in backups on £700 a week, players of a higher squad status will look around and go, as a backup on £700 a week, I want 800, I want 900. And then you end up very quickly spending all your wage budget. I mean, the reality is I've offered trials to all these players. They're just not good enough. I'm going to terminate all these trialists. I'm beginning to realise that maybe I've got my expectations too high. Maybe I just need to be patient. Perhaps the solution at fullback is just the players who are already here. Which is a temporary solution, isn't awful, but I still feel like I have to find someone eventually, and that isn't even really talking about the fact I still need a centre-back. Kaichi Abe here, I had a scout report on. This guy actually doesn't look that bad. He's not very good in the air, but he's got good physicals and pace. In terms of right-back, though, I don't feel like he's better than Mitsuhashi. I don't know if that's a controversial statement. I mean, defensively he is, but in the wing-back role that we use our full-backs in, I'm just not sure he's as good. He wants to be an important player. He's going to want too much money. I'm not even going to talk to him. If you were wondering, Jack, if the scouts found a wing back, no. They found this guy, who actually isn't that bad as a player who can play on either side. But, I mean, they signed him for £3,000. He's valued at £65,000 to £190,000. He's just not that good, is he? He's just not that good. I looked at Taki before, didn't I, before he was released. He's a decent little centre-back at 19 years old who could also be a viable, maybe left-back option. Not sure if he'd displace Rio from the first team, but maybe he could compete with Takeshi. Annoyingly, wants to be an important player, and I fear this is going to lead... Well, I was going to say to some outrageous wage demands. They're not actually quite as bad as I was expecting. If we're getting rid of Rio for £100,000 and this guy's to be the replacement... I feel like an offer like this probably isn't the craziest thing in the world, assuming he wants to accept it, I say, as he asks for £800. But I'm going to go as high as £700. I'll offer a signing-on fee increase. You know what? £20,000 signing-on fee, but if we're promoted, I want a 2-year extension. This might end in tears. This might end in disaster. Or it might just end with Ataki accepting it. I mean, he'd be a great addition to the team. He's a good centre-back, obviously has the versatility to play left-back as well. With Rio departing but then coming back on loan, there'll definitely be some game-time opportunities. Don't love him as a left-back player, but maybe it means Namata holds down the left-back position, or maybe this guy comes in to replace Namata at left-back. I don't really love either as a wing-back, but we'll play with the hand we're dealt, I suppose. If you were wondering, by the way, I am still waiting on Oi Wayne to potentially join us. Ataki, if he joins us as well, would be a good addition. Of the two of these, I don't really need the centre-back more, but of the two of them, I want Yuya more. I just want him for the Oi Wayne jokes. Also, I've had the more scouting kind of come in. Apparently he's inconsistent. I'm just going to ignore that. I want Oi Wayne. Feel a bit downbeat today just because we've not been able to get transfers done. This makes me feel slightly better. Takagi listed as one of the potential top goal scorers in the division for the coming year. At least the press believe in Takagi. I suppose I just need him to stay fit. Also, if you were wondering, with the latest updated kind of squads with all the players being released and stuff, we've moved up to 7th. I don't feel like I've strengthened the team that much to move up to 7th, but I mean, that makes me feel slightly better. Some of the offers I'm now getting for players are big. FC Gifu have made an offer here for Komori. Apparently he has no interest in talking to them, but they are offering silly money, potentially worth 130,000. What I will say is, in terms of how it's structured, it's just not enough money up front for me to be interested. But if I could get him with a loan back and maybe £200,000, I would take it. Again, I'm getting greedy with Komori. Can you tell I just don't want to sell him? I feel like it might be obvious. One player who is on the move is Rio. He is leaving the club for £120,000. Given the fact we snapped him up on a free transfer a year ago, it's a good bit of business. Equally, the fact that we're now getting him back on loan for the year makes it feel like even better business. Welcome back to the club. The good news as well is, if I'm not mistaken, we're not actually paying any of his wages right now. So as a result of that, we've actually saved some money on the wage budget too. One player who keeps being dangled in front of me is Shimizu here. I've had him on my radar a little while. He looks like a good goalkeeper at 18 years old. If we just compare him with Junpei Noda, arguably a better goalkeeper. He's 18 years old as well and available on a freebie. The issue, I suppose, is how much is he going to want? And if I sign him, is it going to upset Noda? The answer to how much does he want is £800. He also wants a minimum release clause and a yearly wage rise and a promotional wage rise. You know what? Forget anything I said in the last 20 seconds. Finally, another signing is happening. Ataki joining us. The centre-back come left-back. Decent little player. £700 a week. Not the smallest wages in the world, but for a player who looks like he could be good enough to slot straight into the first team and is still in his teen years, I feel like this is just one of those sensible bit of businesses to get done. In fact, when you compare him to the likes of Takeshi, he may even be a better player. I feel like Ataki's going to be playing a lot of minutes for us this year. Maybe as centre-back, maybe at left-back. Kobayashi. This guy is our versatile fullback option who, well, I wanted to keep around, but I've had an offer here from Shanghai Port in China. They have offered £20,000 that could rise up to, well, a little bit more, depending on the number of games he plays. I feel like he's worth more money than that, but if I got a bid of £30,000 with a better sell-on, I feel like I'd have to consider selling him. That feels like a pretty fair offer for a player who's really a super squad option for us. I might be selling Kobayashi. He is the only player in my team right now who can play both left back and right back, which I do find valuable to have in a sub option. I suppose the question is there players that can do both those things currently available to us that we already are aware of? And the answer to that question is based on players I've got scouted, and the players sorted here by reputation is there isn't really anyone like him available, which makes me less keen to sell him. I feel like it's one of those transfers I don't have to do, but it is a pretty fair offer. I am heartbroken. Oi Wayne is going to Hollyhock. Heartbreaking because he's not going to us. More heartbreaking because he's going to a team in our division, which really does scare me quite a lot. What it does mean is that with 9 days left until the season starts, this is how the first team looks. I suppose the good news is we didn't necessarily have to get in a new striker. Our attacking options are pretty blooming good. I particularly like the new addition of Batata. Of course, Ataki, the other big name that we've managed to add during the transfer window so far. I said going into today's episode I wanted a left back and a right back. I mean, Ataki could be the starting left back option for us because I do feel like he's better than Numata. Maybe not quite as good going forward, but in terms of overall defensive ability and mental ability, it's hard not to look at Ataki as a bit of an upgrade there, really. The big, gaping, glaring hole that I could really do with sorting right now is right back. Mitsuhashi, I suppose, could play there in an emergency, but if Kobayashi's leaving as well, we lack the depth required anyway, so I need a new right back. I mean, I love Mitsuhashi. I think he has the most appearances of any player during the save game so far for Tokyo 23. 73 league games, 10 assists. Not exactly the most inspiring of average ratings, mind you. In an emergency, I feel like I could start the season with him at right back, but I feel like I need a right back. I love the fact my scouts and kind of intermediaries and agents are offering so many really good players to me, but annoyingly, none of them are centre-backs, none of them are full-backs. I say that, one of them is actually a full-back, but it's this guy here who I fear is going to want too much money. Yeah, they want £500,000 from him. That ain't working, is it? Shimaoka hit, not bad, just not £500,000 good. In my search for a left-back and right-back option, I might have found the perfect solution. Toshio Murillo, I've just sent the scouts out to go look at him, but I really like the look of this guy. He was playing at high school level last year, didn't actually play very well, mind you. But if I'm going to lose Kobayashi, this guy could be the obvious kind of go-to replacement versatile player. Arguably a better player overall. I suppose what hinges now is on his demands, and these demands are very, very reasonable. They're too reasonable. I'm going to just throw a load of money at him. He wants £140. I'll pay you £200, and I'll give you a big Brucey bonus of £400. Go out and buy yourself a PlayStation 5. Welcome to the team, Toshio. I hope he's going to sign for us, otherwise he's just taken the money for a PlayStation 5 and ran. Although then again, he doesn't get the signing on fee until he joins us. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, hear me out. We might have a left-back option, folks. Yoshiro Sagaya. This guy, he looks like the Gaia, you know, the Spanish left-back. He's definitely not said Gaia, but we'll just go with it. This guy's decent. He wears a collared shirt. That is the sign of a man with integrity. If we compare him with Numata, definitely a better player as well as a wing-back. 23 years old, was playing at university level. That usually means he's going to have reasonable wage demands. He wants to be a centre-back. He hasn't got the memo, mate. You are a left-back. He wants a fair amount of money, but there's no release clause, so I'm going to look at the positives. I think there's a deal to be had here. Okay, £650 deal signed. It's a 3-year deal. Didn't decide to push my luck with any optional extension. Ultimately, a 3-year deal is kind of what we want for a player like that. And all of a sudden, if I get these two players, I'm suddenly really happy with the transfer window. I know it shouldn't be how it works. It's how I'm feeling right now. This is why we can't have nice things. I instantly find them and make bids, and then suddenly a load of other teams make offers. Marino's instantly gone to another club. I'm so upset. Never mind. Never mind. Right, this Kobayashi deal I'm actually going to delay. I can't believe that. I made an offer for Marino, then I was told there was bids made for him at 8:53. Then at 10 AM, he signs for another club. I'm absolutely fuming. Now, given the interest showed in Sagaya, I feel like I have to up the amount of money I'm willing to pay. Mate, I'll give you £700 if you join us. There was a temptation to go for more than that, but I just feel like it's a bad idea to do that. Also, Seiya Ono is being offered to us here. This guy looks good. He looks, well, he doesn't look good. He looks reasonable. I'd love to know how many bids I've had on Komori this summer. I feel like every other day I'm rejecting bids on him. Can people just leave him alone? What I will say to his credit is, he's not asked to leave the club yet, so you have to give him some respect. Okay, the league season starts tomorrow. In terms of transfer windows, this has been one of the most frustrating and just unproductive, to be honest, as I reject another bid for Komori. Like, we've got some new additions to the team, and I feel like there is some decent players here. Ataki, I think, is going to be a good player for the starting 11, but There's a lot of faith being put into like last year's team that bottled the end of the season, let's be honest, to really step up and be good enough in J3. I feel like Batata and Takagi we're probably looking at to get a lot of goals this year. And if they don't do it, the mid-table like finish the board one might be a bit ambitious. That's my theory right now. Then again, given the fact our media prediction right now in the live updated table is 9th, maybe I'm just being over dramatic. Maybe the team was already good enough. I'm gonna hope that was the case. I know there's gonna be some people really upset that I've not done enough transfers or a transfer special, and I kind of get it to some extent. We knew going into this transfer window, though, we weren't exactly going to be overhauling the squad, and I feel like bringing you on an adventure of frustration is somewhat nice. You know, when we go into the new season, if Mitsuhashi isn't stepping up, you guys know how hard I tried to get a right back, and the fact that I know I still need one. Equally, I feel like it's nice sometimes just to go through the thought process and kind of how you have to adjust your plan on the fly when you can't get the players that you want. Anyway, I'm not able to delay this offer with Shanghai Port anymore. I'm going to make a controversial decision here. He's going to hate me for this. I'm not going to sell Kobayashi. He is going to be absolutely fuming, but until I get a right back, I can't sell this guy. Right now, looking at the squad depth, he is the second choice right back. And yeah, selling him for £30,000 is a great deal without any context. With context, it would be a mental decision to make. Anyway, with that all said and done, it's now the 27th of February in-game. It's the start of the season. Looking ahead, when does the transfer window close for us? I feel like we've got a little while to do business. We've got until the end of the month to try and find some players. I'm going to be honest. Going to be looking to make some additions before, well, that window comes and goes. The team as it is right now, I don't think is in its final form. Anyway, saying all of that, here's the team that I think will start the first game of the season on screen right now. You guys can let me know your thoughts on the team down below. We need a right back. We need some depth at centre back. Besides all of that, though, I don't hate what's in front of me. If you have enjoyed today's video, go down below right now, leave a like. We will be back next week with more Tokyo Rising action. Until then, take things easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.